The Church of Rock.
And now I believe we do have Miss Linda GAIL Lewis on the line, don't we?
We do. Hello, Miss Lewis. How are you tonight?
Well, hello. I'm doing fine. You know, for a pandemic day, it's been a good day.
I like that attitude.
Yeah, we got to do something or just go crazy.
Hey, Linda, are you still based down in Louisiana?
You know, I'm actually in Austin, Texas.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I didn't want to take for granted. I know you hail from Faraday, correct?
Well, I do, and I moved from Faraday after my mother passed away when I was in my 20s. I moved to Memphis, and when I married my husband in Memphis, we traveled and lived in different places. We lived in Big Sandy, Tennessee, and we lived also in Wales in the United Kingdom, which was really interesting and a lot of fun. We were there 4 years. We came back to Big Sandy, Tennessee, and moved to Atlanta, Georgia. And from Atlanta, Georgia, we moved to Austin, Texas.
Wow, you have just been a world traveler. And for those of you that might not know, Linda GAIL Lewis is just an amazing singer, songwriter, pianist, just a great person. And also, she's the sister of the legendary killer, Jerry Lee Lewis. And is Jerry still living in Tennessee, or is he in Louisiana?
You know, he actually lives in Mississippi, very close to Memphis. He's like 15 minutes from downtown Memphis, but he's right across the line in Mississippi. And then he has his ranch there that he's turned into a tourist attraction, and it's open for tours.
Wow, yeah.
You know, kind of like the Graceland thing, kind of like that.
So it's the Graceland of the Lewis family.
Yeah, and if you know, anytime anybody's in Memphis area, they can go they can schedule a tour and go all through my brother's home. But he has another home now, about 10 minutes away from that place, that's a little bit smaller and easier for him and his wife to get around and enjoy living in.
Yeah,
you know, at our age, we don't need anything too big. And the ranch that's a museum now is quite large.
That's so cool. I was watching YouTube last night, looking at some of Jerry Lee, his past birthday celebrations, and boy, some really cool people like Rolling Stones and people like that coming by to celebrate with the killer. How amazing.
I was there, and it was absolutely so much fun. I did 2 songs, and it was a lot of fun, but I was very nervous because my brother and my cousins, who are also famous and legendary, and they were all sitting, you know, very close to where I was singing and playing. And I tell you what, I hope I don't have to do that again anytime soon.
Well, I tell you, the smile on Jerry Lee's face when at certain parts of your playing, when he would look at his wife, it was like, boy, is he enjoying his sister's playing.
Well, he taught me everything that I know about, you know, I don't think I could have ever learned to play rock and roll and boogie-woogie piano without his help. He really helped me.
Wow.
And what a heck of a teacher to have, right?
I am so blessed. You know, I have people ask me sometimes, what's it like to have such a famous brother, and couldn't you have been more famous if you had been not having such a famous brother? And, you know, I always say to them, it is such a huge blessing to me to have Jerry Lee Lewis to be my brother, because I started my solo career when I was 40 years old. And if I hadn't had his name and his connections and him teaching me how to play rock and roll and boogie-woogie piano, I wouldn't have had a prayer.
Well, you know, yes. Your gratitude is just infectious. That's so cool.
Well, I really appreciate my brother. He's such a wonderful person. He's been so good to me.
And, you know, music's such a big part of your life. You're married to Eddie Braddock, from the former Stax Records promotions director.
Oh, yes, I am. And you know, I listen to his Stax stories, and it's so interesting to me because at the time that he was promoting the Stax Records and working also for Leonard Chess at Chess Records, when he was doing all that, we were doing country music and traveling on the road. So, you know, we have very different backgrounds, but my background is interesting to him because he's a Jerry Lee Lewis fan, and then his background is interesting to me because I love that music that he really gave to the world. My husband did, because he was the promotion man who got Otis Redding and all those people, Sam and Dave and Rufus Thomas, onto top 40 radio, because radio was segregated back in those days, and my husband is a hero. He got it off of the blues stations and right on top 40 where they could sell 1 million copies.
Hallelujah. That's so great. And then in combination with the great Sun Records, there was so much legendary history being made.
Oh, yeah. And, you know, my husband and I have that in common because he knew everybody at Sun Records. He was very good friends with Jerry and Knox Phillips when they grew up together. Wow. And then, of course, I grew up with all of those people, too, but not so much hanging out with the guys. And that's why I never met Eddie until much later on in my life. But yeah, my husband was very good friends with Sam. Eddie was like a son to Sam Phillips, and he was also, just wonderful to me. So we have that much in common. We have the Sun Records thing in common.
And you're known for your high energy rock and roll shows. Are you missing being able to perform as much because of the pandemic and everything like most rockers are?
Derek, it has almost driven me crazy. I think I've had a nervous breakdown. I really think I have.
Man, it is really tough, man, mentally sometimes.
Well, I tour a lot. I tour a lot in Scandinavia, and my husband goes with me, and we're over there playing in the snow and making money and playing music for people that love it and just having a wonderful time. I can't believe what happened when we got back home from that last tour. We got home in February.
Oh, boy.
And boy, I'll tell you what, it all happened. I thought, this can't last more than a couple of months. But guess what? It's almost been a year, and it's still happening.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, it's a good thing that you got home from the tour when you did. That was good timing.
It had just started. Actually, we were in Tromsø. We were in the north of Norway. And they had one case in Tromsø. And then we had to fly through Bergen. And in Bergen, they had several cases. And then we went to Bergen Airport, and then we went from there to Amsterdam to Atlanta to Austin.
Oh, boy.
It's a long trip when you're doing that.
Yeah.
24 hours or 25 hours or something. It's a long trip. But, yes, we were fortunate to make it home.
Yes, and probably the further you went, the more populated the cities got, the more you heard about it, I'm sure.
Well, on that particular tour, we stayed in the north of Norway, which is very different from the south of Norway. A lot more population down there with Oslo and Bergen and Stavanger and all those cities. But we were way up north, way beyond the Arctic Circle.
Yeah. Do you enjoy playing shows more abroad, or do you have more fun at the shows here in the States? I mean, I know there's probably a big difference, in just the whole vibe. And I just wondered if you enjoyed playing abroad more, or if you kind of enjoy the States, playing the States more.
I have to say that I enjoy my shows in America and, in the States just as much as I do my shows abroad. But, I'm more popular in a way in some of those countries.
Sure.
Because these are small countries like Norway and Sweden where I've promoted myself and people know me a little better there sometimes. But having moved to Austin has really helped my career, and doing the album with Robbie Fulks has really helped my career. And, of course, before that, I did a tour in America with Van Morrison because we had a duets album called You Win Again.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
So, yeah, it's been interesting promoting myself here. But the people that in the audience here are just as wonderful as the ones in Europe. I could never say that they appreciate me more in Europe. And sometimes I think, the audiences here even appreciate me a little bit more.
Yeah.
Right.
What are your favorite countries in Europe or outside of America to play?
Well, Sweden is my second home, and Norway is a place that I absolutely love. So I work a lot in Sweden and Norway. It's beautiful there. Yeah. I have an audience there, people that appreciate me. I have great promoters that we work with. And I have an agent who is an absolute demon. He knows how to book a tour.
Nice.
He'll have a 3-week tour with 20 shows. And I love that because I enjoy playing so much. I'm so amazed at having that gig, and it always amazes me a little bit. I never take anything for granted, and when I'm having a gig and I have an audience that appreciates it, and I have a good audience, people have turned out, I think, I'm so blessed. This is wonderful to have this in my life. At 73 years old, I can go out and play a gig and have people come and see me and listen to my stories, I do a lot of storytelling about my brother and, us growing up together and when I met Elvis and things like that. And, everybody enjoys that, and I'm so happy that they do. I really love what I do.
Now, you brought it up, so I've got to ask, what was it like when you met Elvis Presley? You brought that one up, so.
I was just a teenager, didn't have any idea of what to expect because I'm a Jerry Lee Lewis fan.
Right.
So it didn't mean that much. But boy, when I walked in that little bitty theater, the Memphian Theater, and I saw Elvis standing across that lobby in front of the light coming onto his face from the concession stand. When I saw that, I thought, good Lord, because that man wasn't photogenic. He looked 10 times better in person.
Wow, really?
Really.
Because I always thought he was a pretty attractive guy, but to know that he was better in person is really cool.
Yeah, you couldn't really get what he was about until you were face to face with him. And I'll tell you, it made a believer out of me. When he came across that room, I was absolutely in shock. And I shook hands with him, and he kissed my hand with his sexy lips.
Oh, you're killing me.
That's nice.
So, yeah, and then the other thing was funny because he walked away, and he looked back at me laughing because he talked to this woman who had taken me in there. And because we went in the theater, just crashed it to go in there so I could meet Elvis, and so she could probably just see him again. But anyway, we're standing there, and I realized when he turned around and laughed, I thought, why is he laughing? And then I thought, oh my God, I've been standing here this whole time with my mouth gaping open, and I haven't said a word. Not one word. And Elvis got the biggest laugh out of that. I'm sure it happened to him all the time.
Yeah, especially in those days, because that's my favorite. That's my favorite Elvis era, I gotta say, is the early days, the Sun Studio stuff,
Yeah, but I like those Vegas shows and stuff, and I love the jumpsuit Elvis.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Like, and the songs like Suspicious Minds and stuff like that.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
I love it all.
Can I ask you, do you have any particular favorite female rockers or female musicians that you look up to?
I learned a lot from Wanda Jackson.
Oh.
And to be honest with you, Derek, I don't think that I would have had the career that I have if it hadn't been, first of all, number one, my brother telling me, Linda, if a woman's going to do rock and roll, she's got to do it like a man would do it. Yep. And then when he said that to me, I said, oh, that's, nobody can do that. And then we were doing a tour in Europe. It was called the Silk Cut Festival. And Wanda Jackson was on that show. Mm-hmm. And I got to know her in the breakfast room because we were at breakfast there, and I would sit with her and her husband and have breakfast with them every day for weeks. And then finally there was a show where we were there in time for me to see Wanda do her act. Uh-huh. And I was absolutely shocked. I was really amazed at how she could walk up to that microphone, this sweet little lady that I had been talking to. She's so mild-mannered. And she walked up to that microphone.
And
she
threw down.
Stage. It was in France. The Silk Cut Festival had gone all the way to France. And she walked up to that microphone and she said, some people like to rock, some people like to roll. And I said, oh, my God.
Yeah.
Rock like a man.
That was going to be one of my questions was, did you ever come into contact with Wanda Jackson? Because she's obviously, like you said, a badass. She just was a badass. She got up there and she just threw down. And
it made a believer out of me. And so, because I tell you, Jerry and I were listening to Dolly Parton's version of Great Balls of Fire. And I said, Jerry, there's something terribly wrong with this. What is it? She's doing it like it's a really cute song, and she's singing it like a girl.
Oh, wow. I have to hear.
But he said, but if a woman's going to do a rock and roll song, she's got to sing it like a man would.
That's great. That is beautiful. I had no idea he had said that. Me and Tracy were checking out your the new video and your new song, "Oh Pandemic," and it's got such clever lyrics. Can you tell us a little bit about "Oh Pandemic"?
I just say that God gave me that song because I've been so heartbroken because I have lost my career temporarily. I can't do what I've been doing for I guess it's been 30 years now that I've had my solo career and I've been on the road. And all of a sudden, I don't have it anymore. Oh. And it absolutely broke my heart. And then God gave me these lyrics. I think He gave them to me because I'm not that smart and I'm not that clever. But to me, songwriting is spiritual. And if I'm not spiritually into writing a song, I just don't write it. And that's why I don't write very many, because I can't just sit down, like Robbie Fulks or Willie Nelson and say, oh, I'm going to write a song today. I have to be feeling that. That has to be coming from my heart and my soul.
Yeah, well, that video's only been up for, a little less than a couple of months. It's got over, almost 12,000 views already, so a lot of people are liking it.
Well, and also it's been a big hit on Outlaw Country Radio on Sirius.
Oh, cool.
It has been several times on there during the last 2 months. Several times. It's been the most played, most heard song on Outlaw Country.
Wow! Congratulations.
Yes, that's awesome.
Oh, thank you. It was a thrill for me. I couldn't believe that it was. My son-in-law, Danny B. Harvey, he was also a famous guy. He had a band called Headcat with me and Slim Jim. He's a famous guy, and he's a wonderful, wonderful person, and I love him. He's like a son to me, and he's the one that produced the song and played guitar on it and drums and bass, and of course I played piano and sang it. But he sent that to the boss at Sirius Radio for Outlaw Country. He sent it to Jeremy Tepper. I would never have had the nerve to do that. So I'm so glad Dan did it, because he sent a message right back to my son-in-law, Danny, and said, we're going to put this on in rotation. I really like it a lot.
That is so cool. And your first record came out in 1969, The Two Sides of Linda Gail Lewis. Is that correct?
Well, I did that duet there. Oh, my goodness. Can you hang on 1 second?
Of course.
Let me fix this.
No problem. Live radio, it happens.
I am so sorry that happened. That is a stupid alarm that went off. Yes, forgive me.
Happens to us all the time.
Exactly. That blew my mind when I heard it. For a minute, I thought it was a spaceship or something. I told you I've had a nervous breakdown.
After the year we've had, it wouldn't surprise me one bit if it was a spaceship.
What was that question again?
I was just asking if it was. Is it true that your first record was in 1969?
Oh yeah. I had the duet with my brother. My only son record release was Seasons of My Heart with my brother.
And now here we are, 2021, and I'm wondering, do you have any future plans? Do you have anything you're going to be recording coming up, especially since the pandemic is happening? A lot more artists seem to be cranking out more music videos and songs and, live stream concerts. Do you have any plans for anything like that for the future?
Well, what I have plans for now is my live gigs that I'm doing here. Texas hasn't really been shut down, so we're still playing gigs in Texas.
Wow, I did not know that.
I played on my birthday, July the 18th. I was scared to death. I played on my birthday, July the 18th in Memphis, when I think there was several hundred new cases a day or something in Memphis. And there I was. And I tell you, for 14 days, I was sweating it. And when the 14 days went by and I didn't have COVID-19, I was thankful, and I thank the good Lord for that. But, I'm just playing a lot here. I've got gigs in Fredericksburg. I've got a gig at Green Hall in Brunsville and Green, Texas. So I've got live gigs coming up. I like the live gigs better than the live streams. I have done a couple of them, but our Chihuahua usually knocks all the equipment down. I promise you, it's the funniest thing. She will find a way to disrupt that live stream every time.
Sounds like our little pet. Do you have a Facebook page or a website that we can, kind of tell our listeners? You can tell our listeners where to go to check out what you're doing, what you're up to.
Well, I appreciate that so much, because I have Linda Gail Lewis on Facebook. It's a Facebook page.
Okay.
And there's one of my fans did a Linda Gail Lewis fans page, but the one that I moderate is Linda Gail Lewis. And then, yes, of course, I'm always begging people to come there. And we've got about 9,700 people now. And,
nice.
And it's growing. It's growing all the time. And I also, if anybody needs to reach me, they are always welcome to go to lglmusic.com. Because someone else owns the name LindaGailLewis.com. So we took lglmusic.com. So I've got the .com and the Facebook.
Awesome. You are listening to KSKQ Community Radio. We're talking to Linda Gail Lewis. You are at the Church of Rock radio show. We're getting ready to kick into a song from Linda Gail. Tracy, do you have any last questions?
I have 100 questions. I would just like to ask you if perhaps you would come on at a later date and maybe do a part 2, because I just have questions running through my head like a freight train right now. So if you know,
Tracy, I really like y'all, and anytime y'all want to talk to me on the radio or just want to talk to me, you're always welcome to call me.
Oh, that's wonderful. I thank you so much for that, because, I have just a billion questions and time just keeps ticking by so fast, but we would love to have you on the show again.
Well, I would love to be on it again. You call me anytime.
Yeah, thanks for the nice stories and the fun laughter, and we will definitely be in touch. I'm going to play a song that you were kind enough to autograph and send our way. It's called Hard Rockin' Woman is the name of the album, and we're going to do a tune called Heartbreak Highway. It's from 2015. Once again, Linda, thank you so much for taking the time tonight.
Thank you, Linda.
Thank you so much, Derek. Thank you, Tracy.
Yeah, keep rocking, and God bless you.
You stay safe, Linda.
God bless y'all, and y'all stay safe, too.
Okay, cheers. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.